Hello, everyone. I'm just going to take this text off because it's annoying me, and then bring this out. Hi, everyone. So sorry about the delay there. I know we're a little bit over time. I think I mentioned in the email, it's just a bit of a nightmare on YouTube. And we've got a lot of guests this evening. We're just trying to sort out one that can't join in at the moment. So I will keep trying in the background, and we will shift guests around so we can make allowances for it. But yeah, welcome to Women in Whiskey, our next online tasting. Been looking forward to this one, and we've got some fabulous whiskies from Mackmyra, all the way in Sweden to New Zealand with Cardrona. Then we've got Boken from Scotland, and we've also got Penderyn from Wales. So it's some fabulous whiskies to try. We just some general housekeeping. Most people that I guess join us from all tastings will know this. If anything happens to any of the guests in the stream, I'll do my stuff best on the back end to bring them back in as soon as possible. If anything happens to the full stream and we all drop off, just keep refreshing the YouTube page and I'll get us going as soon as we can. When it comes to YouTube, you have to refresh our actual YouTube page, not the link, because the link will then be non-void. We have to do a new one. As you guys are coming in as well, guys, if you can just put some comments just to let me know that you're in okay. I'm seeing guests are coming in okay, which is good. I've got to bear in mind the numbers again because we've got quite a few people watching from the same house. So I will try and work that out, make sure we've got everyone on board before we get going. And we have got a new tasting, which I will be putting the link in the comments after tonight, which is for the next tasting, which is going to be on bonfire evening, which is Kilcoman whiskey. Just obviously tying a bit of smoke there with the whole bonfire concept. Hey guys, Donna, Anthony, Paddy, great, good to get you in. And but I think that's generally it. I think we'll get going just so we can get the guests on and start trying some whiskey. And I will do my best to make sure we can get our final guest on this evening as well. So let me just bring Jas on. And I'll leave you in his capable hands. Hello.
Hey, you all right?
Yeah, good. Right, so I think people are coming on pretty. I think there's a couple missing, so hopefully they'll be on as soon as possible. I'll just go and check our social pages anyway. So if you want to get started, I'll check that, and then hopefully I will get the situation resolved with Angela, and we can get her on.
Who have we got first?
So first this evening will now be Sarah from Cardrona. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Good stuff. Hey guys, thank you. Thanks for joining us. It's Friday evening. Hopefully you're not in a tier 3 lockdown, or maybe you are, I don't know. But we have 4 amazing whiskies to try tonight. We've been talking about this tasting for a while, and Shane actually came up with the idea and said we should do something around, women in whiskey, and we just never got around to it. Other things were getting in the way, if you like, and then we put this together off the back of Liam, who might be joining us later. He represents Cardrona, and he said, we've got a female distiller. Why don't we do a tasting and sort of showcase that? And again, it was discussions we were having over a long period of time, and finally we managed to put it together. Now we actually put it together, and Shane, who you might know from Mackmyra, he's done a few of our whiskey tastings and gin tastings when we've had those tastings with Mackmyra. He said, call a lady called Becky Paskin, and she's big in kind of women in whiskey, and she might be able to help promote the tasting. So I tried to get hold of her, but then just at that point, she this publication that comes out annually called the Whiskey Bible by Jim Murray came out, and at that time Becky Paskin actually made comments about the Bible, saying it was quite quite sexist in the language it was using. It was quite antiquated in his views around women, etc. And there was just this big backlash, and she was all over sort of industry press, and so we couldn't get hold of her. But it just sort of timed that we were doing this women in whiskey tasting, and there was this big kind of industry press going on around the Bible, and how there was a bit of backlash against it because of the sort of the sexist views or language that was being used in the Bible. And a lot of distilleries and whiskies, I'm not saying that any of the ones that we have tonight, but certainly a lot of brands were pulling away from their association and saying, well, look, we don't see any of the Bible beforehand. So we definitely don't condone what's being written and the way it's being written, but obviously we don't mind being included where we are. So anyway, that all sort of tied in at the same kind of time. So it sort of became quite current that we were doing this tasting at the same time. So it was just meant to be that we were meant to hold off and put this tasting in where we did. So as Shane said, we're having a bit of an issue with some of our distillers that are going to be joining us. So we're sort of rejigging the order around as we go. So apologies to our people joining us, and thanks for your patience, and for the viewers listening and watching today and joining us in the sampling. Yeah, we'll kind of just make it up as we go along a little bit and see how we go. So that's kind of the history. We're doing this tasting. Actually, it came around because we weren't necessarily saying, wow, there's women who make whiskey or women involved in whiskey, so let's celebrate it. It was more just a different angle on doing a tasting and saying, well, you know, we have these great brands, and actually there's a lot of women involved, you know, pivotal to those brands. So why don't we just take a different view on the tasting and, you know, get the ladies involved and see what their view is on, you know, how they got involved, and just kind of hear their stories a little bit. So it's not necessarily a celebration of women in whiskey, I don't think. I think it's more just, you know, there's women and there's whiskey, and let's just talk to them. So hope you'll kind of understand it and enjoy the tasting. It turns out that actually this tasting is also a little bit of a world gin tasting, because we're going to Wales, we're going to Sweden, we're going to New Zealand, and then back to Scotland. So it's kind of taking us around the world a little bit, so we get to try you know, some of the whiskies and sort of how they are reflective of their particular location. So look, without any further ado, I guess we should bring on our first guest, who is going to be Sarah and Liam, I believe. Hey, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good. Okay. There's a hairy man I recognise. Hey, Liam, how you doing?
I need to get in more.
Yeah. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Things are good. Things are, well, it's in the morning over here, so I didn't think I'd be tasting with you, but here we are.
Here we are, amazing. Yeah. Sarah has joined us all the way from. Are you in the distillery at your home?
No, I'm at home. It's Saturday morning, so I'm a really casual Monday to Friday worker, and it's 7:45 in the morning.
Amazing! Wow. So that's dedication. That is dedication.
We love what we do.
So thanks for joining us, Liam. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Enjoying the chill. It's a bit cold. The weather's got a bit garish, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, look, as long as there's no rain, I don't mind.
Yeah, we've got some nice whiskies to warm us up with.
Exactly. Couldn't be said better. Yeah. So look, this is our Cardrona whiskey. It comes with this lovely packaging, as you see, and can anyone hear my kids, by the way, screaming? No. Okay. All right. So here you go. Right, and that's the cool, funky little bottle there. Okay. So I'm not sure what pouch this is. It's going to be on the bottom of your screen what number pouch this is. But while we work that out, who wants to kick off? Liam, do you wanna start or
if you want to pull the whiskey out?
Cool.
Pouch. If you figure out which pouch number it is now, just liquid on lips, get the tasting going. So get the nose. It's quite a young whiskey. It is 3 years old. It's just one gold in the World Whisky Awards for New Zealand's best whisky 10 years and under.
So I've just brought Jess out for a second, just to remind everyone that these pouches actually aren't numbered this time, they're named. So your pouches have got the names on. So if you just look for Cardrona, just hatched, that'll be obviously the pouch you're using.
Too easy.
So it's 64.4% ABV, so it's nice and punchy. It's got a lot of warmth behind it. It's got quite a bit of dried fruit, some toasted, you get some caramel in there, some banana.
It's quite a lemony kind of citrusy nose as well.
Yeah. So the barrels, it's we use the Solera system to marry ex-sherry and ex-bourbon casks together. So
okay.
So you should get some of the more heavier sort of caramels that you get from bourbon and whatnot, and a little bit of sweetness from the sherry, and also from the oak itself, from the casks, from the charo. So,
and how old is this whiskey?
It's 3 years old at the moment.
3 years. Wow.
I believe we're bottling the last of it at the moment, aren't we, Sarah?
Yeah, coming up this Christmas, we will never bottle a 3-year-old again.
Okay. So Sarah, how long have you been a distiller or distiller at Cardrona?
I started there in 2015 when it was being built, and it was actually the very first distillery I had ever visited. And it obviously fell in love, but I've crossed over from the wine industry. So my background is in winemaking, and that had led me around the world, and distillation was sort of just something that piqued the interest. And when it was being built in my backyard, I had to go and sort of have a look, and I haven't really been able to leave. So I've been there since it was a building site.
Wow,
and
amazing.
It's very, very exciting to be drinking a 3-year. As I said, we'll bottle down the last of our Solera tank this year, and then move towards launching only older expressions. So always tracking towards what we believe will be our signature spirit at 10 years.
10 years. Okay, so the next one will be what, like 5 years or 4 years?
We're doing a 5-year, correct. So single cask release first, and then we'll move into a Solera system again, and launching single cask up until probably. I mean, we play. We thought we'd do a 6, but we've brought it on a 5. We're very, I guess, reactive to tasting the spirit as it matures and making the best decision to display the spirit in the best way possible. But we believe it will be 5, 7, and then slide right into the 10 and sort of never look back. Looking at them as almost like progress reports as we go along. Yeah.
So I believe that the lady that owns the distillery as well, right? There's a lady that owns the distillery. Yeah.
There is the lady that started it all, and then my distillation team is actually all female, not by design. It was just the best person on the day for the job. So we are actually an all female production team, and then our team in total is 32, and very much a mixed team there. There are a lot of men leading the charge, actually, especially in the sales effort. There's a lot of guys out there peddling the pavement, Liam included.
Yeah. just guys in the sales team, but
that's interesting, isn't it? Because you're trying to create a whiskey, obviously with your end goal in mind, but release something to show the public what's happening and how it's progressing. And so do you have a plan of how that looks, or do you just kind of say, okay, well, let's shoot for this and see if we can make that work? It's tricky.
So Desiree really held to her, the owner, Desiree Whitaker, really was she held on to her guns very tightly at the start. We initially had no intention of launching anything younger than 10 years old. The introduction of a younger expression was really, I mean, I guess it was in the back of the mind. It took some serious convincing. And I think the kind of turning point was when we were visiting Ardbeg in Isla, and we were introduced to their not ready, nearly ready, not quite there sort of range. I think she really sort of saw value in launching something younger, but being very open and honest about it being young and not quite where she was wanting it to be, but excited as to how it was looking right now. It's a real snapshot in time, and it's exciting to take people along with us, because we've had people visiting the distillery since it was a building site, and they continue to visit us. So it is nice to include them.
Yeah, I mean, when Liam brought it to us, when was it? Last year? Was it?
Yeah, about a year ago, last week, I think.
Yeah, it was about a year ago, and I mean, we were just blown away. It's absolutely amazing, and then to hear it's like 3 years old as well. I mean, is it because of the climate down there that it's just aging very well?
I think the climate is definitely a factor in our maturation. I mean, every day is a school day, and we're learning that as we age. But we are seeing, I mean, we're seeing increases in ABV in our bourbon barrels in particular. Our local Pinot Noir casks, so that French oak, they seem to be showing maturation characteristics earlier than we expected. So I do think that the temperature difference between day and night is that little bit more extreme. Our Angel share is not overly high. It's sitting around the kind of 2.93% per year. But I think absolutely you can't discount climate in maturation, and I think our climate is speeding things along a little faster than we had thought it would.
Yeah, and just for the viewers who maybe don't understand clearly, what is a Solera system? How does that work?
Yeah, sure, and it can mean different things depending on what you're talking about, what type of spirit or sherry. For us, it's sort of, I guess, this vessel where we marry select casks. So the word blend is thrown around a lot in the industry. That's referring to spirits brought together from different distilleries to create a consistent product. We're creating consistency by marrying select casks and then only bottling half of the tank. So you're always leaving liquid in the tank. The next bottling, you add additional or dump additional casks into that tank. You're never depleting, and create consistency by leaving a little bit behind, with that sort of romantic notion that there may be a little bit of that first cask in your very last bottle ever bottled. And for us, it's a marriage of both bourbon and sherry aged spirit. And we do not water anything down on the way to the bottling line. Everything in this sort of progress report range is cask strength and will be for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, so that was my next question. What was the plan behind just cask strength?
It seems a little bit ridiculous. It is a very high alcohol by volume. I agree, and I think it really came into tune with this very real, very honest display of where we're at right now. And the most honest way to do it is to just out of the barrel. Here for you. I mean, anyone can add water, and you can do it in a way that suits your taste. And everyone has their own tastes and preferences. For you, it may be 1 drop. For someone else, it may be 5. And that's something that we can bring into our story. It's another opening for education. It lengthens the conversation, and it's a bit of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing. I absolutely think it's amazing. Yeah, it's really good, and I love the strength as well. I think the strength it's just phenomenal. So Liam, I guess we should go back to the taste.
Yeah. So for those who have tasted it, you might find, because it's quite young, I get a little bit of green apple coming through in the taste, me personally, alongside those raisins and currants. More further towards the back, you get a lot of sweetness from the banana, especially after the burn does dissipate, which is quite insidious. You know, like you sort of think it's just going to hurt your feelings, but it gives it so much more length. And the spirit really develops in your mouth, and it changes consistently for, a good minute and a half afterwards, I'd say 2, 3, 4. So
I haven't added water, but if anyone has added water, who's doing the tasting, if you let us know how it's changed and what you noticed. I mean, have you guys added water? Obviously, Sarah has. Liam, have you added water?
Nah, man. The only thing I mix with my spirits is more spirits. To be honest, I'm that. Yeah.
So Tim says good finish, nice and long, touch of fruitcake. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah, very good. And it's got a really long finish.
Yeah, it does, and it really does change and develop with that time. I think that is mainly because of the ABV, but I might be wrong. Is that correct, Sarah?
I mean, I think with something that high in ABV, you do have to. It is going to completely transform in your glass with a little bit of time. It just takes that little bit more work, I think. I think water. Our operations manager refers to it as the keys to the kingdom on this one. I'm probably adding a little bit more than I normally do because I haven't had breakfast yet. But I think the water really does open it up and it shows it off, I think, in a better light. It gives it more.
Yeah. Okay, I definitely will try it with some water then, because I've not, and I never have done. I just like it as it is. I actually think it's amazing. So getting fruity notes and sweetness. Morgan is saying water softens it a little, draws out some sweetness and complexity. Yeah, so I think I should give it a go. I just like it. I just think the nose is so good.
Yeah,
it's amazing, just like that.
It's quite a Highland style. Like, obviously, there's no peat in it whatsoever. So you might find that you get a little bit of flower barrage coming through as well, and that sort of thing. A little bit of crispness from sort of like green pine or something. I know that's sort of like how Dave Broom describes it. I know when he tried it. But his palate is obviously far more evolved than mine.
Yeah. So Sarah, how many distilleries do we have down in New Zealand?
I think the headcount on distilleries is up to maybe 83 the last time I looked, and the size of them is incredibly variable. I think would be the largest in terms of a commercial distillery, and our wash still is 2,000 litres in capacity. So it really is incredibly small on the world stage. But there's a real thirst here in New Zealand for quality spirits and for spirit production. So I think that number is only set to sort of take off.
Wow. I mean, is New Zealand big enough to hold that many? I mean, it's a large number already. 83 is a lot.
It is a large number. I think in anything we do, I mean, we're fiercely proud and competitive by nature. So I think we always aim to compete on the world stage. And New Zealand was never going to be enough or a big enough market. So we had our eyes set on the rest of the world very early. And the UK as being stop number one, but definitely not our last export.
I hope not. So whereabouts in the island are you? North, south?
We're in the South Island. We sit between two beautiful towns, Wanaka and Queenstown. We're right in the valley. And these are two places that are very famous for their ski resorts. So right in the hills, and water just sort of flows in off the mountains. We have our own bore that we dug out during the build. And we really are harnessing that alpine water and that beautiful kind of alpine environment in maturation, which you referenced earlier, that climate is just so important to the maturation.
We had a question. Is the barley homegrown?
Is it what, sorry?
Is the barley homegrown? Yeah.
Not yet. That is the plan. At the moment, we're actually bringing it over from the UK on the water. At the time of the build, you actually couldn't even get distiller's malt in New Zealand, and that's how young the industry is. The want for barley in New Zealand was very much coming from brewing or just feedstock, and it wasn't until last year that Laureate, our variety, was even grown in New Zealand soil. That's not to say that it can't. A lot of seed development trials are conducted here because we do have a very similar climate, so we knew that was never going to be something that was going to slow us down. But the variety was important to us. I mean, when you build a state-of-the-art distillery, you don't then compromise on your raw ingredients. So we've tapped into a very high-quality barley, and then the malting technology is sort of catching up to distillation as well now. But the plan is actually to build our own malting facility on site. So that's something that we've got our eyes on.
Wow. Okay. Is it Norfolk barley by any chance?
It's around that area. Am I right in saying it, Sarah? It's from the east of England, like the east coast is where it comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. And in Bury, St Edmunds. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good. Excellent. So, guys, look, that was our Cardrona single malt called Just Hatched. There you go. Solera cask. Solera finish, right? Solera. Single cask. Not single cask, single malt. And we've been joined by Sarah and by Liam, who's our UK rep here. And really appreciate time. Thanks for taking us through the story. Thanks for taking us through the whiskey. And if this is good at 3 years old, then we're definitely looking forward to the next lot. Also, you do some single casks as well, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, our first 5-year single cask, we're planning to actually send some over your way mid-November. So hoping to have it for you at Christmas time. Liam might be able to get a bottle to you.
Yeah,
amazing. Oh yeah, Liam, put us down.
Yeah,
I'm already putting ourselves down for some bottles.
yeah, it's gonna be good.
Okay.
Great. All right, Sarah, thank you for joining us so early in the morning.
Hey, it's a great
Really
one.
appreciate that, and I'm sure our viewers have enjoyed hearing about your story and tasting the whiskey. So thank you very much. That's the Cardrona single malt just hatched.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. So there you go. Wow, that is absolutely amazing. I know Shane was liking that too. Obviously, we have tasted it before, and it's really fruity. It's got so much flavour. You kind of just want to leave that in the glass and just let that sit for a couple of hours and see what happens. So,
just to let you know, Jess, we do have Angela waiting in the wings, ready for you. So
should we bring her on?
we've got that sorted yet. So I will bring her on. Hopefully the mic issues are going to be okay as well. So we haven't tested the mic, but hopefully everything will be good.
Hey,
We got you?
Hello. Do you
Yes.
hear me?
Perfect.
yeah, we can hear you.
Good.
Can you hear us?
I'm here. Yes, I can hear you.
Amazing.
Yeah. Sorry for the trouble. I'm kind of a bit of a, I don't know. This is not my thing to.
No, it's fine. You're on.
I made it.
Yeah, you're here. You're on, and that's the difficult part over. Now the rest of it is plain sailing. Easy for you.
True.
No problem. So, so look. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for offering to do this. We've actually done a lot of tastings with the UK guys on the Mackmyra range.
Right.
So between during lockdown and up and sort of till present day, we've done, the core range, we've done the seasons, we've done the moments, and we've even done the gin. So we've covered everything. So some of our guests today would have tried nearly every single product you've done.
That's fun.
So we thought we would try the new one. And how is it pronounced?
Hjärtlycka.
Hjärtlycka. Okay.
Hjärtlycka.
And what does it mean?
It means happy hunting. It means it's the term that you give to someone who's going out in the forest to hunt for berries or even do all kind of hunts. So you say that happy hunting to someone. God hjärtlycka.
Okay, cool. All right, good. So look, before we move on to the actual whiskey, just tell us about your story and sort of your time at Mackmyra and how that started and so on.
Yeah. So I'm the master blender. I'm the chief nose officer at Mackmyra. I've been working with Mackmyra since 2002. 2004, I got on staff, and and I was the first person to start blending when Mackmyra started, to put stuff in bottles. So I was the only person in the company who had knowledge of the sensory and how whiskey was tasting and that stuff. So it was sort of a logical step for me to do. So I started off blending, and then I learned, and then I had some great mentors in the business. Jim McEwen at Brookladdy was my mentor, and
well, you can't get better than him, can you?
No, it's difficult, at least.
Yeah, I mean, you're learning from the best.
So that's the story, and then I've been doing it ever since. It has been fun, and I think we're up to nearly 90 bottlings by now. From the beginning, when we started doing the very young Preludium series, that was the first 6 bottlings that were like very young and came out on the market just because of the request of our whiskey, and here we are, and now we're doing seasonals, which are roughly between, I would say, a rough age of a seasonal whiskey is between 8 and 12 years of age.
Okay.
So we sometimes do whiskeys that are with age, but mostly we are continuing that tradition that we started with, which is the non-aged whiskey, and we're more focusing on to what the expression is and what it has to say to the customer. So that's the intention of it.
Yeah, amazing. So do you have a say in how each of the seasons and what you're gonna release next, and generally in the distillery and its sort of movement? Do you have a say in how that goes and what's produced?
Of course I do. It's so these are my babies. I mean, now we are pretty much an adult company, if you understand what I'm saying. But from the beginning, I was the one saying, "Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this?" And then we kind of have started, So it's a long process when you do a whiskey. So nowadays, I might say that, but it's a longer process to get it into the marketing group. They have to, we discuss the things together nowadays. But I'm definitely the brain behind all these weird, Swedish finishes and other kind of finishes like the green tea finish and stuff like that.
I mean, it's amazing.
My projects and my fun things that I've been, testing. And of course, I test in small. So I have our 30-liter casks that are the ones that we sell, the reserve casks. Those are my laboratory casks. So I always start with, when I did the green tea, that was this spring's seasonal whiskey, I started off with the 30-liter cask, and then after 6 months, I know if it's a good match or not. Yeah. And if it's a good match, I then tell my collaborators, I'll tell them, okay, guys, I think we can do a seasonal with this, and then we just upscale it a bit more.
Okay. And how long in advance are you thinking about the next season? How?
Well, it really depends on how complicated it is. I mean, if you do something like Gruv Guld, that was a seasonal that came out a few years ago. That was with a lot of Swedish oak, and it wasn't like more elaborated than a lot of 30-liter casks.
Yeah,
that was quite difficult anyway, because it's like tiny pieces. But I would say generally 3 years to 3 to 4 years in advance, and that meaning that we have mature whiskey waiting for us. So it's like that's not an issue. So if we have mature whiskey that we can finish, then it's 3 to 4 years of process before it's ready.
Okay, great.
And sometimes a bit less as well, but more or less.
Yeah. So let's go for a little taste, shall we? Have you got any whiskey there by any chance?
Ta-da!
Love it. Excellent. Okay, so maybe you can just guide us through the nose and the sort of the taste, and we kind of see what other people are guessing and thinking.
Yeah. So this is a whiskey that has the dominant aromatics in this whiskey are wine finishes from Swedish blueberry and lingonberry wine seasoned casks. So we have bought this beautiful forest wine. I don't know if you call it wine in English, but it's like, it's a wine, but made with berries.
Yeah.
And so that's like 30% of this whiskey. And it adds to the aromatics in a sort of if I say herbal touch. It's herbal, minty, kind of herbal minty, but in a fat kind of way.
Yeah.
So you have eucalyptus and you have mint, and then you have all the Swedish oak, because we use the Swedish oak as well here to some of the casks that we have had the wine in are Swedish oak, and those one gives a bit of a more oriental touch. It's more gingery, more
Bit more spicy.
Yes, and more aromatics coming from the wood.
Yeah. So it's a really nice blend, isn't it? Because you got some of that lovely fruit married with, and actually Anthony has said berry flavors that end with spice. So he's kind of nailed it.
Yeah. So there's also some Oloroso in this as well, which adds to it, and a little bit of a new American oak, which adds to the sweetness, the bourbon character, sort of, or the newer oak character.
Yeah.
But it has it's sweet but not sweet. It's fruity and woody, or not woody. Woody is a good word in Swedish. Maybe in English doesn't sound like good.
No, it does. Absolutely. It makes sense. Yeah. Woody is yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to try it. I'm going to try it now. I have to.
Okay. Yeah. So you get the berries.
Yeah.
You get the fruit.
Getting the lovely tingle of spice on the tip of your tongue.
And it's the forest part comes out on the sides, on the aftertaste, and you get it mixes in a. I like the mix of the fruit and the forest.
Yeah, I mean, it really coats your tongue, doesn't it? It kind of hits every point.
It has a sort of oily but buttery oiliness to it.
And I was just about to say, every whiskey that we've tasted and tried from your range, it's a quality that keeps appearing. Hints of vanilla is one, and then this lovely oily, buttery creaminess is something that you always seem to have in your whiskies.
So would you say that people recognize that it's a Mackmyra when they try it? Are they kind of, with your members, are they, because some people say they do and some people say they can't recognize it, but there's a lot of people who really can, who kind of says it's the house style is so particular.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm not saying I'll be able to blind taste it and pick it out of a crowd necessarily, but when I know it's one of your whiskies, I know the same sort of qualities I'm expecting to get. But some of our guests, they might that they've been here for nearly every tasting, so they might be able to pick out those qualities. Actually, a few of them today that are on here have just bought one of your 30-litre casks. And it's due to be delivered early December. So
one of the adoption casks, so a ready cask already.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. So we're looking forward to seeing that.
That's great. It's if you have patience, go for the 30-litre cask that you kind of craft yourself, because then it's like 3, 4, 5, 6 years. But if you don't have patience, then you want one right now, you get the adoption cask, which they're ready.
So yeah, I think this time we're in for the adoption cask, and then next time they might, you never know, they might have a long-term plan. Who knows?
Yeah. It often is like you kind of get both, because you that, at least the people who are with us in Sweden, that's a lot of so like you get your first cask, you get your second cask, you get your third cask, and maybe you kind of shift a bit the group who owns the cask. That's like in this group, there are 3 people who are the same, and in that group, it's like, so kind of. So it becomes like I don't know. It's like something you have together with your friends, and different friends and different casks. But it's like 4 or 5 casks is quite common.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. This whiskey is so good. The berries just keep growing on me more and more. Was it designed as an autumn whiskey?
It is. It actually is. It also has 1% of smoky casks in it.
Does it?
Yeah. So just 1%, but just to give it a bit of a backbone to that, to all the herbs and all the berries and things. And I didn't want it to be smoky, but I wanted it to have more of a backbone. So
yeah,
it is actually 1% of smoke inside. Extra smoke and smoke.
Okay, amazing. I'm not picking up, but maybe some of our guests are picking it up. But it's just there to add a bit of more body to it, right? It's not necessarily there to come through.
You can sense it when you have it in your mouth. It's like a little peatiness, a little juniper peatiness, which then it's like it comes and then it disappears.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna have to keep trying it, unfortunately. So one other question I had, when we got introduced to the whiskies a few years back now in our shop, the casks that the seasonal range in particular was so, it's like they were so out there in terms of what you were doing, the different casks you were finishing, and how you were creating your range. How do you keep coming up with these amazing ideas, and how do you top what you've done before?
I don't know.
Short answer.
Yeah. I can't answer that. I think it's the curiosity to go for fun things. For me, I mean, certainly all these Scandinavian wines that we're using, they are amazing, and that's not difficult to go for everything that they have. It's like, okay, the cloudberry is wonderful, and you can go for the dry cloudberry wine, or you can go for the sweeter one. We haven't done the sweeter one much, just small casks. You can go for the birch wine. You can go for this hunting wine, the blueberry and lingonberry wine, or the wild raspberry wine. So those things are just let them come. That's not an issue. And other things, so we have a lot of things going on, cooking in the cellars, in the mine, and some of them become so attractive, so sometimes we start off as a smaller thing, and sometimes and then we have them on tastings, and people tell us, it's like, if you do a seasonal with this, it's gonna hit really well. So that, for example, that was with the mulled, the spiced wine that we used. That was a test. The Swedish mulled wine, the Swedish spiced wine was a test that I did, and I thought it was like so far out. I didn't think that it would gonna be going anywhere. But I had it on the Stockholm Beer and Whiskey Festival, and the guys who came, they said, "This is awesome! This is so cool! You need to make something bigger out of it." So I did more of it, and then I had it at more tastings, and then at a certain point, people were saying, if you don't do a seasonal out of this, you're stupid, because it goes great with your whiskey. It's so weird, and the traditionalist will love to talk bad about it, which is a good factor for me if they do, because then I know I'm on the right track.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, that was the one, that particular whiskey was the one that you're talking about is the one that sold us on your range.
Right.
It was that was the one that we were blown away by, and we said we have to get this stuff in. So yeah, definitely it definitely works. The winter soul was obviously amazing last year, so let's see how this one compares this year in terms of our sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many shops do you have?
So we only have one shop. We're a small shop.
One shop, but you have a lot of online stuff going on.
Not really, not so much. No, not so much. We just have people coming to us.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have
visiting you.
Yeah, I mean they're local, but they're quite loyal. So they're always happy to try new stuff, and if they like it, they'll buy it again.
And where is your shop?
So we're in St Albans in Hertfordshire, so sort of 20 miles outside London, 15 miles outside London, something like that.
Okay, so next time I'm in London, is it difficult for me to go and visit?
You get to King's Cross, and it's a 20-minute journey, 20-minute train ride.
Okay, cool. So I can come and visit you next time.
100%. We'd love to have you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I'd love to come and visit you. Let's make a tasting or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. Great to have you there. Brilliant. So, Angela, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having the patience and waiting for me.
No. What time is it in Sweden?
It's 9:20, 21:09.
Yeah, so you're an hour ahead. Brilliant. Well, look, I'm sure this has gone down really well with our audience tonight. We're looking forward to that single cask that they've purchased coming to us, and yeah, we'll see you very soon when you come to England. And yeah, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for inviting me and for enjoying our whiskies. And please get back if you have any questions. If anybody wants to email me, I have a very simple email, angela@mackmyra.se, and Mac is with CK, not as CK, Mac. Yeah. So if anybody would like to email me and come and visit and so on, so it's feel free to do that.
Yeah, and I'll just show you the bottle, guys. So that's the bottle there, their standard bottle, and this is the box, soon to be on our shelves.
Fantastic.
Good
Thank
stuff.
you. Thank you for having it. Thank you for
Angela, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Take care. See you soon. So, guys, that was our Swedish. So we've been to New Zealand, we've been to Sweden, and I can't decide. They're both absolutely amazing. Really, really good. So I hope you guys are loving them so far. There you go. Nice picture there. So we've seen two distillers so far, but there's not just distillers that are pivotal to some of the whiskies that we have and that make their way around the world. So a big job for any whiskey is to have a good brand ambassador. So our next two guests are brand ambassadors for their brands, and it's their job to kind of promote and sort of spread the word of those particular whiskies and distilleries. So I think we're going to Kubokken first. So we might be joined by Julia, maybe. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I have quite a large dram, but I am representing Scotland tonight, so.
There you go. Absolutely, absolutely. And whereabouts are you based in Scotland?
So I actually live in a little village called Eventon, which is just about 13 miles north of Inverness. And our distillery, Tomatin Distillery, is about 13 miles south of Inverness.
Yeah. So you have about a 30-mile journey to the distillery.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Amazing. So we're trying tonight, guys. We're trying Kubokken, which has just changed its packaging. I say maybe last year. So that's what it looks like now. and that's what the bottle looks like. It's this really cool, funky bottle design as such. And you may have seen on our shelves last year we had the Creation 1 and Creation 2, but this is your kind of everyday, your standard, all year round.
It's like our sort of hero product. This is the Cubocan Signature is the ongoing product, and then our creations are kind of limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
So Cubocan Signature. So yeah, I'll just briefly say as well. So Cubocan is made at Tomatin Distillery, and some of your audience and some people might be more familiar with Tomatin single malt. Tomatin Distillery also makes the Antiquary, sort of a premium blend, but not typically known as a distillery renowned for making peated whiskey. So it was back in 2005. We started laying down some peated malt, and that the sole intention back then was that this would go on to be used in our blends. But then the distillery manager at the time sort of tasted the spirit coming off the stills, recognized the quality of it, and decided to lay it into 3 different cask types. And that's bourbon, Oloroso sherry, and virgin oak. And that is what we still continue to do today, and that is what is the foundations basically of Cubocan.
Okay, so before we move on to the actual whiskey itself, just a little bit about you and how long you've been with the team and so on.
Yes, so I was born and raised in the Highlands, and then I went off to Glasgow to university. When I finished university, I came back, and not long after, a job opportunity came for a marketing graduate at Tomatin Distillery. And even though in the Highlands and all throughout Scotland, we're surrounded by these incredible distilleries, quite a lot of them don't have their marketing in-house. So they might be maybe in the central belt of Scotland, or maybe even London, and further afield. So I was so fortunate, just the timing of it. I joined basically after I graduated university at the start of 2017. Yep. And yeah, so when I joined, we were just a team of 2 in marketing. That marketing team now has grown to 5. The sales team has grown. We've got Scott Adamson as our brand ambassador now, and yeah, the team is growing, and it's been amazing. I feel like when I joined the distillery, and all the brands were just on a great upward momentum, and it was a great time to join, and great to join the industry as well, which has just been, it's just like one of the best industries to ever work in, the whiskey industry.
Yeah, I agree.
So lucky, and I hope to just stay in it now forever.
Yeah. So you're a brand ambassador for Cubocan as a brand, or as Tomatin as well?
So I'm actually the brand manager of Cubocan. So I'm more typically I'm in sort of more of the background, so the marketing, and I actually was only appointed this role after the rebrand. So, but it was good. I was quite involved in the sort of re-envisioning of the strategy, and again, it was really exciting. The Cubocan brand, since launching, was always doing well, but now it's kind of getting the focus and dedication. So this role sort of arose, and again, I was very fortunate to be chosen to sort of take it in its new kind of format. As you said, it was rebranded last year. So yeah, and basically now we are all about, actually, when Angela was kind of talking from Mackmyra there, so a lot of synergies between us. We're kind of driven by sort of experimentation and kind of pushing up boundaries and trying new things and different cask types, or to get different flavors. And the Cubocan range is all non-age statement. But I can tell you this lovely drink, which we're about to drink, is 9 years old. It's a vatting of the 3 different cask types, as I said earlier: the bourbon, Oloroso sherry, and virgin oak. So using sort of bourbon, Oloroso sherry, virgin oak isn't very unusual, but the vatting of them together to create this whiskey is kind of our experimental element to the.
Yeah. Yeah, but then the creations also were really experimental with the Muscatel, and then you had the Soju, and was it a stout cask as well?
Yeah, so Creation 1, that's where we did Black Owl Brewery, which again is really not far from where I am now. It's about 10 miles. So we used Black Owl Brewery Imperial Stout casks, that together with Baccaloa Muscatel. So you kind of had the sort of coffee maltiness from the stout mixed with this beautiful orange marmalade from the Baccaloa Muscatel. And then Creation 2, we used Japanese shochu casks, which were original. Again, just creating like a very, unlike any whiskey I've ever tried, just very sort of light.
Yeah.
And then all of the Kubokan expressions are 15 ppm, just a very light smoke. So on each one, you can kind of just get that sort of aftertaste of just a light, feathery smoke.
Yeah. So Al's asking, this is the which one we're tasting? This is the signature.
So yeah, this is the signature tonight we're tasting, which is our ongoing kind of hero product. Yeah, and it's the varying of 3 different casks. So it's about 60% of the recipe is bourbon, and 25% is Oloroso sherry, and then just that 15% is the virgin oak, which kind of just ties it all together and adds a little kick.
Yeah. Would you like to take us through the tasting of it, the nose and so on? Some people have already jumped in, but someone said butterscotch. I saw a comment earlier, so someone's picking up the butterscotch.
Yeah. So on the nose for me, and again, everyone is completely different, but for the nose for me, I kind of get this creamy kind of coconut sort of element. Maybe a tiny bit of smoke, but I don't really get much on the nose. But I'm getting the sort of bourbon cast, which is again that sort of vanilla, honey, as someone commented, butterscotch. But just quite a sweet kind of bourbony nose for me. What do you get?
Yeah, I'm getting hints of that vanilla. I'm getting a bit of that. Al said, I think it was Anthony said butterscotch. I'm definitely getting some of that sort of creaminess that, whether it's butterscotch for me, I think he's probably right, but I'm definitely getting that kind of creaminess in there. And I think I'm getting a touch of smoke, but that's just me, I think.
Yeah, just a very, very light.
And maybe that's just my mind because I know it's in there. So maybe my mind's telling me that I'm getting smoke. But yeah, and I'm just getting a very light kind of sweetness to it. I'm really picking up more of that bourbon and virgin oak for me.
Yeah.
Let's go for a taste.
That's it.
%46%.
Yeah, 46%. So on the slightly stronger side, not cask strength, but
you don't know it, right? You don't really see it as a 46%. It's still very, very like it coats your palate and it's really soft.
Yeah.
And then just a tiny bit of heat. But it's not alcohol heat, it's maybe some of those bourbon and virgin oak kind of spicy notes.
Yeah, I definitely on the taste feel like I get a little bit of that virgin oak, and like you're saying, just like a spice, but just a nice sort of sweet taste on the tongue. And I typically normally always add water to my whiskey, but with the signature expression, I just like it just neat as is. Personal preference, but
yeah, me too. Shane's getting some honey and cloves.
And
maybe
definitely
a bit
honey.
of cinnamon.
Yeah, and cinnamon as well. That's another thing that I get on the taste.
The smoke's so delicate, isn't it?
Yeah. Someone actually said before a tasting, and now I always get it, sort of toasted almonds, just toasted almonds, cinnamon. But yeah, just like a very sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like exactly. Some sort of toasted nuttiness
Yeah.
of some sort. Yeah.
Sort
Yeah.
of like a cinnamon pastry after you've had a little bite of that. That's what this whiskey gives you.
Yeah. If anyone's got some chocolate, maybe try a little bit of chocolate as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, it's really good. It's so good, and it's so different. It's so light, not only in sort of color, but just in taste, and it's just the kind of lovely lightness to it. It's not a heavy whiskey that kind of pulls you down, right?
Not at all. It's super light, very easy drinking, but also, like you're saying, just it has a little bit of complexity as well. It's a bit unusual in its taste, but it's also just very easy drinking.
Yeah.
Someone said Nespresso and dark chocolate. Yeah, definitely. I think even the Oloroso can bring that sort of coffee, dark chocolate kind of taste.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely getting that woodiness on the nose, like a lot of wood, a lot of woodiness.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of like an old manor, like a country manor, just getting like that aroma of I can imagine sitting by a fire and drinking that. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So good. So really nice. So what's your plans? What have you got? What's the new? Is there a new creation range?
Yeah. So I mean, we're just going to continue the creation. So we've had 1 and 2. We're just going to go up 3 and 4 and beyond. And this year we've got some exciting concoctions in the pipeline. Nothing I can reveal yet, and we're still kind of experimenting as well. But no, I would definitely say to anyone, if they haven't tried the 2 creations we have out now, that there's going to be more exciting things coming. And then Keep Signature will just always be ongoing.
Yeah. So is there anything for Christmas?
Nothing's going to be released before Christmas.
Okay.
But stay tuned.
All right. Okay. Good. All right. So all right. So look, guys, we do obviously have the Keep Signature, so that's always available, and I'm sure we'll get some of the creations back in around December time. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and hope everyone enjoyed the drama at home. Yeah,
I bet they do. So Anthony just says another hit. So yeah, it's definitely going down very well. And I think for some people they wouldn't have tried this before. We have had Tomatin in our tastings, but never Keep. So I think for them it's going to be a nice little surprise.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just say as well, just plug Keep it's got all its own social channels now. So if you've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, have a look at the Keep page for all the sort of exciting things that's going on over there. But thank you so much for having me.
No,
Happy
thanks
Friday,
for
everyone.
Brilliant. Yeah. Thanks, Julia.
Cheers.
Take care. Cheers. Bye. That was it. The lovely Keep presented by Julia. Thank you very much. So we do have one more whiskey left to go, and we're going to be coming back to Wales this time. And it's we've never had this before. So one of the things that we wanted to do was get this into our shop, and a good way to do that was to try it, sample it, and see what you'll think. And we'll definitely be getting these in. So this is the Penderyn, and it looks like that. Comes in I think they've rebranded since the last time I saw them. Lovely, a lovely looking bottle here, and here we are. So Shona has joined us. Hey Shona, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Have you been sitting in the background the whole time?
I have, yeah. It's been fascinating.
Right. We should have sent you a sampling kit so you could have tasted everything as you went along.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry.
So yeah. So tell us about you. So how long have you been with Penderyn, and what's your kind of involvement there?
Yeah, sure. So very much ended up in the industry by accident, to be honest. So I started about 2.5 years ago just as a tour guide, just whilst I was finishing off my my master's degree, and then sort of fell in love with the industry, got to know a lot more about the industry, about how the products fit within the market as well, and just decided then, you know, this is very much an industry for me. And as Julia was saying, it's such a wonderful industry to be in as well. So I've progressed up through the visitor centre. I was managing the visitor centre for a little while, and now I'm one of the brand ambassadors. But I also help manage some of our European accounts as well. Then.
Great. Okay. So, and were you a whiskey fan before?
I'll be perfectly honest, I don't think I'd ever tried a nice whiskey before. I think I'd only ever tried sort of horrible stuff that, you know, that your grampy's got in the back of the cupboard, you know. So it was a real treat to be able to try something as nice as a single malt can be. And as we get a lot of people that come into the visitor centre, and I'm pretty sure I was in this position as well, that say, oh, you know, I don't really like whiskey and all of this. But I think it just takes a while to find the whiskey that you do like and that suits your palate. And for me, Penderyn works really, really nicely for me.
Yeah, and I mean, I've tried it at some of the whiskey shows a few years back in your old bottlings, and it was always really good. It was always very different. Have you found being Welsh being a little bit different to Scotch an uphill battle? Like, because people will say Welsh whiskey, is that really a thing?
Yeah, definitely. I know in the early days it was very much an uphill battle. We were the first distillery in over 100 years producing single malt in Wales, so it was definitely a big uphill struggle at the beginning. You know, everyone's like, why the hell are the Welsh trying to make whiskey? What is going on? But now we're sort of at this level where we're really sort of welcomed into the industry, and I think the fact that we're actually trying to make whiskey differently rather than just trying to recreate Scotch or Irish whiskey in Wales has earned us a lot more respect, which has been, you know, got us to the level that we're at now.
Yeah. So are you using, where are you getting your barley from?
So the barley does come from the east coast of England. It would be lovely to have Welsh barley, but sadly it rains too much, to be honest with you. So the climate just doesn't work for it. So it's all grown and malted on the east coast, and then it's brought over to us then. Okay,
well look, they produce barley for everyone, even across to Japan. So I wouldn't worry about
it. Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Let's
good
let
stuff.
The experts do it.
Yeah, but the water source you obviously use.
Yeah, we actually have a borehole right underneath the distillery, so we're really lucky to have this sort of fresh mountain water, really, for cutting and for the distillation process as well. So we're really lucky in that sense.
Yeah, amazing. So and this is a new bottle, right? Is this
it is. So we rebranded at the end of 2017, so just before I joined the company. So used to be in, you know, the very traditional sort of wine bottle shape with a square box, beautifully designed, but we've kind of rebranded, trying to make it a little bit more 21st century. So you've got, hopefully you can see it a little bit. You've got a bit more whiskey in this one versus your one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, you can see we've tried to make it really, really slick, really modern as well. And there's a lot of little symbols of Wales going along. So you've got the seam of Welsh gold, which used to be a sort of a jagged seam, whereas we've made it a little bit more sort of clean now. Yeah. And then you've got Welsh gold written in English and in Welsh, and then the three emblems of Wales along the front of the bottle as well, along the wings.
Amazing.
So yeah,
love it. I love it.
We owe a lot to Glenn Tutzel for our bottles. He was a fantastic man. We worked really, really closely with him to design it, and it's very, very unique, very distinctive.
Yeah, no, it looks fantastic. I really like it. So obviously, we will come to the whiskey in a second, but you do. I remember you did a port as well. And then you did. What was the others in the range?
So we've expanded probably a lot since the last time you might have tried it. So we've got 5 expressions in our gold range. So we've got Madeira finish, we've got a peated finish, we have a sherry finish, an Oloroso sherry finish, a ruby port finish, and an STR cask as well.
Oh, have you?
Yes. Interesting. Oh. Yeah, so that's the most recent addition. It's added about 1.5 years ago now.
Okay, so yeah, we should definitely. So yeah, look, I think we should order all of them and put them on shelf because they're very good. So let's jump in. Of course. So it's quite a light whiskey. So what's the age of the whiskey?
So it's Madeira finish. It's our house style. So it's matured in ex-bourbon casks around about 4 to 5 years. and then we're transferring then onto Madeira wine casks for only about 6 months. So you're getting a nice hint of that Madeira coming through, nothing to overpower. So you still get a little bit of that bourbon flavour coming through as well. It gives it that really distinct golden colour, which I love.
Yeah. And do you say this is your core? This is your...
This is our house style whiskey, yeah. So this is what we started with back in 2004. And it's the one that most people have tried. It's the one that most people know us for. It's also the most widely available.
Okay. So on the nose?
On the nose, yeah. I mean, I'd love to hear what other people have to say, because obviously I know what I can smell.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, let's get some comments in. What do we get on the nose?
I don't like to tell people what they can smell. I feel like I put ideas in people's heads.
Yeah. No, that's very true. That's very true as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go with some sort of sweet spice. Maybe not vanilla. There's a bit of vanilla, but
there's a little bit, that slight hint of bourbon cask coming through a little bit there.
Yeah. Raisins we've got. Definitely raisins.
Yeah.
When I was tasting it earlier, I kind of was thinking like a Black Forest Gatto. So I'm getting, and what I mean by that is I'm getting the creaminess, I'm getting some cherries, I'm getting raisins, I'm getting a hint of chocolate, and it's all kind of come together.
That is, yeah, that is a wonderful tasting note. I definitely get what you mean.
That's probably just me. That's probably
creamy cherryness. Yeah, it's lovely.
We've also got vanilla and dark fruits. Raisins from Al. Is there some licorice or something in there?
Potentially, yeah. I find it's quite fudgy, sort of creamy toffee flavors.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That creaminess was something I really got.
Yeah.
And maybe even the top note, just a little bit of pear or something. I mean, that's just something just lighter.
I'm definitely with you on the pear. I find with our new make spirit as well, there's a real distinct pear flavour that comes through. And for me, it's that pear that I can taste in all of the Penderyn. And that's sort of that's the signature for me.
Okay.
I know some people find it's more appley, but for me, it's more pear.
Yeah. I'm definitely getting a bit more of that pear. Sarah says dark fruits, almost that fruit cake again. Yeah.
Definitely.
So we're good. We're kind of all there, right? We're in the same ballpark. let's go for a little taste. So 46%.
It is, yes.
So let's. So I don't think anyone here would have had. Well, I'm certainly in our tastings. I don't think we've covered a Madeira cask.
Okay.
So that's quite a nice sort of new thing for us to go for. So what would Madeira add to our flavour?
Yeah, sure. So again, that raisin flavour is going to be very, very dominant from Madeira. For me, I get quite a lot of that toffiness again from the Madeira and a little bit of sweetness, and adds a little bit of dryness at the end of the finish for me as well. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys can find from it as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Madeira is such an unusual finish for whiskey, especially for it to be our core range, our house style whiskey, for it to be a Madeira finish.
Yeah.
But when we sort of started out, we were working with Dr. Jim Swan, the legend of the industry, and he was very adamant that for our spirit, so we actually take our cut at about 90% from our still. So normally, it's 70-80%. So it's very, very light. It's very fresh, and with that Madeira, it sort of adds that level of richness to it without overpowering the spirit.
Yeah. I definitely think there's something in there. Okay, guys, let's go for a little taste.
Yachida, as we say in Wales.
What was it?
Yachida.
Yachida. Okay.
You carry on.
I like to hold it a little bit longer.
No, please.
Wow, that is very good.
I'm glad you like it.
Someone says, I think we did Amaret Jazz. Oh yeah, no, we did have a Madeira. We did have a Madeira. Before. Yes, no, you're right. Wow. Okay, so.
Oh, that is a fantastic. I've just seen the tasting note come through. from Paddy, which is fantastic.
Baked apples and raisins served with cream. Yeah, that's like
That is, nail on the head. That.
Yeah, that is it. I mean, I was going to say pears, I was going to say cream, and definitely like raisins. But yeah, that's. I need to go to your mum's house, Paddy. I think.
It's sort of like that cooked apples, cooked fruits. You know, cooked pear again.
What I really like about it is that obviously with the Madeira, you're going to get those raisins, right? And you're going to get some cherries and those kind of darker fruits. Yeah. You are getting that lovely, you know, Paddy's picked apples. We kind of said pears. You're getting those sort of white fruits as well. Those lighter fruits coming through, which kind of is a nice balance, isn't it, between the two?
Exactly. Yeah. It's something very, very different as well. You know, there's so many sherry casks out there. There's so many port casks out there. So having a Madeira is quite a nice, sets us apart a little bit as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So Tim says lovely sweetness locks in an abundance of flavor. Yeah, absolutely. It's all there. There's so much, you know, and I keep getting this chocolate come back to me as well. I can't help it. I just keep getting this chocolate.
No, it's lovely.
I don't know if chocolate's even a tasting. Is it anywhere in your tasting notes? Chocolate?
Not for the Madeira, no.
Okay. Right.
No.
For me, it's just there.
Any particular type of chocolate?
Sometimes I feel like it's a white chocolate, and maybe that's creaminess. But then, you know, I had that Black Forest Gatto come to me, and maybe I thought it was a bit more of a, you know, milky chocolate. But I think it's white chocolate I keep getting. Yeah,
I'm with you on the white chocolate, especially on the nose. I find that sort of creaminess, that white chocolate creaminess coming through.
Yeah. So guys, look. Let us know if you're loving it. I think you get some of the sherry characteristics, but Madeira brings more lightness, fresh. Yeah. It's good, isn't it? It's really good.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. So we definitely get some of this in, because I think just the fact it's a Madeira is really different. The fact it's Welsh, and you know, people love it, and people do ask for Welsh whiskey quite a bit.
Oh, good. Oh, that's good to hear.
How many have you got in the range now? So you got the Madeira, you got the port.
Yeah, so we've got 5 in the gold range, which is the 46% range. So you've got the Madeira peated finish, which we actually finish in ex-Lefroy casks rather than a peated malt. So it's a very different version of a peated whiskey. We've got the sherry wood, which is Oloroso sherry casks, the port wood, which is ruby port casks, and then the rich oak, which is STR.
Excellent. Yeah. I think I'd really like to try the STR as well. I've tried most of them
as well.
Yeah. So Donna says favorite of the night.
Oh, yay! Go Donna.
That's good. I don't know if Donna's tried it before. Maybe this is the first time as well. Tim says good after dinner whiskey. Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. Yeah. And you know, if you also go. No, I was going to say. Please go ahead.
No, go.
I was just going to say, if anybody does like to drink it with water as well, it does work really nicely with water. It does open up really nicely. So, but if it's not your thing, don't add water.
I mean, look, at 46%, I think you're kind of in that middle ground. You can add water. You don't have to, you know. I'm going to disagree with Tim just a little bit, because I think this could be a pre-dinner. It's so light. That for me, I would be able to have it before a meal, and then it's just so good.
Definitely, it's a very easy, very drinkable whiskey. We find a lot of people with Penderyn, especially people that aren't big whiskey consumers, do tend to actually be quite pleasantly surprised by Penderyn. They're like, oh, actually, maybe I do like whiskey. This is, you know, it's very approachable. It's very easy to drink, and it does sort of suit a range of palates as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it's kind of that intro, like you said, it's a good introduction to whiskey.
Yeah, definitely.
But still, even for someone that is experienced, there's enough in there to kind of sort of tie you in, right, and bring you into what the rest of the range might be about.
Exactly, yeah. And if you're one of those people that wants to drink whiskey because you enjoy drinking whiskey, or if you want to sit there and contemplate it for an hour or two, you've got both options. It works quite nicely in that sense as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, look, thank you, Shona. Thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's really been nice to meet you. I know we've chatted on email, but and thanks for joining us. Even though we've never been a customer,
That's all right.
but we really appreciate your time, and we definitely, as I said, we definitely would like to get things going. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
put some orders in.
I'd be happy to come down as well if you want any support or anything. Just let me know.
Well, I don't know how you are fixed, but we definitely do in-store tastings during Christmas time. So if that's something we can arrange, that'd be great.
Yeah, just send it over and we'll have a look. Okay.
Good stuff. All right. So, guys, that was Shona joining us from Penderyn. Thank you very much, Shona.
Thanks,
have a good
guys.
evening.
Have a lovely rest of your evening. Yakida.
Yakida. So that was our Penderyn. So look, I don't know. I'm definitely not going to choose between them because I think they're all really good, all in different ways. And I think there's a place for every single one. Shane, what do you think?
Oh, don't put me on the spot. I was really enjoying that Madeira finish though at the end. But it's tough because I've been a massive fan of the Cardrona since I first tried that because of that much flavour from something so young. And then got a soft spot from Mackmyra all the time. They always come out with amazing casts. I've always loved Kibokun. I think, to be fair, not to be harsh, but I think I prefer the limited expression from Kibokun that we had in store, especially the Japanese cask.
Yeah,
that was my go-to. But picking one for this evening, I don't know. I think I'm torn. I think I probably would go for the Madeira. I think at the end.
Yeah,
I think I would. Yeah, I think I would. I don't know if it's because I've been having it with chocolate as well. I was enjoying the Kibokun with a bit of chocolate, and I tried the chocolate with that. And I only got them recently for Nespresso, and I thought I'll try them. But yeah, I think that might be my go-to.
Yeah. Paddy said it'll make a great tasting with the Penderyn range alone, so I agree.
That's
and
true.
Actually, I'm going to apologise to Tim because now, just having a couple of minutes break, I agree with him. After dinner, this Penderyn will be really good. Just because now I'm getting this lovely sweetness, and it's kind of almost like this is a great after dinner taste. That's what I want. So, Tim, yes, apologies. I agree with you. After dinner, Penderyn will be great. Have to say that.
I think, to be fair, all of them are really good across the range, which is always good for a tasting, and they've all got really good strengths to them. I actually feel quite lightheaded at the moment after that. Just think that.
Cardrona from me, but the Madeira finish was close second. Okay, that's from Sarah. So Cardrona first, amazing. So that 68% didn't scare you, which is good.
It's not overbearing though, is it? It's strong, and when you see it on the label, you think, oh my god, it's going to take my head away. But I think it's not overbearing. It's drinkable.
No. Yeah,
I don't add water to mine. I did for the sake of trying it, but I wouldn't normally do it. I have it as is.
Yeah. Anthony says Kibokun was a revelation. Adrian also like the Cardrona, so there's a bit of a good mix, a really good mix.
So there's another one there saying they went back to it. I think Jas has brought that point up before on quite a few tastings. It's interesting how if you leave the whiskey in the glass for a while and come back to it, how much the flavours and the aromas change. Even I think once you said overnight, Jas, we went back to it the next day. And it's completely different. Yeah.
Leave overnight, something like the Cardrona with that high strength. Leave overnight, and it's good. It's going to be good. So Shane, what we got next? We got 6th of November. We got confirmation today that we're doing the Kilchoman.
Yes, so I will actually post that on here now. I'm not sure on YouTube whether or not you can click on links on comments, but I've put it on there now. If not, I'll send an email out next couple of days. So we've got Kilchoman booked for the 6th of November, just to coincide with Guy Fawkes, hence the smoky whiskey. I haven't got the tickets links ready yet, but we also have got Nikka Japanese whiskey booked in for the 13th of November. So we'll release tickets for that soon.
I should mention on the Nikka whiskey. We've got they've released 2 new whiskies in
That's
Nikka.
right. Yes. Yeah.
And we're trying both of those whiskies on that night. It's almost like they haven't been tasted in the UK yet, so we'll be trying them on that night here. So I know for people like Anthony and Donna who have been to a lot of the Nikka tastings, even for you guys, we have something new on that night. Even for you guys.
Yeah, so that'll be that one. But I'll release tickets for that as soon as I can. I know a few of you here also join us for gin ones. We are going to release a gin one, probably like a gin liqueur specialty one, soon as possible. I also got wind, which is just fresh off the boat for any gin drinkers, that our limited edition gin should be with us over the weekend. So next week I'll be launching that, which is our own production again with Blackbridge. But other than that, yeah, if you can click on that link, that's ready to go. If not, I will email out on Monday morning, or maybe even Sunday, with the launch of the next tasting. But other than that, thanks again for Jas for hosting. Thank you again to our wonderful guests for giving up their time this evening. They've joined us from everywhere, actually. We've had Wales, Scotland, Sweden, and then we've also had, New Zealand. And then we've got Liam just at home. He's still in the back. He's been watching along. Yeah, fantastic evening. Great whiskies. And we hope to see you guys at the next one. And we'll see you soon.
Cool. Thanks, guys.